Shalom. Today's daf yomi is Horayos, daf, daf 5, and the daf is dedicated for Shmir Chayalin. That's all for the Shuyim and the Yeshua for Am Yisrael and this East Tzara. We're going to start at the Mishnah on the bottom of 4b, last Mishnah on the page. The Mishnah says, Horu Bezdin Va'asu Kol Kahal. Oh, Ruban Apian, and let's say the court issued a ruling and the entire community or the majority of the community followed their ruling, their mistaken ruling. Nevi'in par, then a bull has to be brought. And by a case of idolatry, we say Nevi'in par v'sa'ir. If there's a mistaken ruling and the people worship idolatry, it's not just a bull that's brought, but it's a bull and a goat. That's the position of Rabbi Meir, Rabbi Meir, which Rabbi Yehuda says. We'll see that there's 3 disputes about this, but Rabbi Yehuda says, hold on one second. Rabbi Yehuda says, Yud Beis Shvatim Mevian Yud Beis Parim. Rabbi Yehuda says each of the tribes, if there are 12 tribes, each tribe brings a bull. And the reason is because each tribe is called a kahal. And so his opinion was, according to Rabbi Yehuda, that the community brings a bull and not the court. So each tribe has to bring a bull. And by idolatry, Mevian Yud Beis Parim Vishnemas Arsirim. And says Rabbi Yehuda, by idolatry, they bring 12 bulls and 12 goats. Third opinion on the top of 5a is that of Rabbi Shimon. Rabbi Shimon Omer Yud Gimel Parim. They bring 13 bulls. Par v'sa'ir kol shevet v'shevet. Par v'sa'ir l'bezdin. So Rabbi Shimon's position is that there are 13 bulls that have to be brought, one for each tribe, and also one for the court as well. And the Gemara is going to explain the reason based upon the Psukim. Comes along the Mishnah and says, Horu Bezdin v'asu zayin shvatin. Let's say the court issued a mistaken ruling and 7 tribes followed their ruling, or Reuben Apian, or the majority, meaning to say, or the majority of every tribe. And Rashi explains the Shiva Shvatim. We could go into Ave Reuben Sheisrael Maviyim Par. This follows the position of where the majority of the people bring a bull. That's the position of Rabbi Meir. He says the court brings a bull and not the community. So what we're talking about here is the court made a ruling, and 7 tribes committed the mistake, or a majority of each of these 7 tribes acted on the basis of this ruling. Then Mevian Par. Then the court, because Rashi says we're following the position of Rabbi Meir, then the court brings a bull. Then the court brings the bull. And by idolatry, they bring a bull and a goat. That's the position of Rabbi Meir. Rabbi Yehuda Omer, Zayin Shvatim Shechatu Mevian Zayin Parim. V'shar Shvatim Shelo Chatu Mevian Aideim Par. So Rabbi Yehuda has the tremendously deep idea here that the 7 tribes that did this sin, they all bring the bull. And also the other tribes that did not commit the sin, they also bring the bull. Even those who did not commit the sin, they bring it as a result of those that sinned. Meaning to say, Rashi says, Par will call shevet shevet. Each tribe brings a bull. And the Gemara says, it doesn't need to be 7 tribes specifically. That's lav dafka. It would be in the case if one tribe sinned, that on the basis of the mistaken ruling, and all the other tribes that did not sin bring on their account a bull. And since the Rameir said 7, because he required a majority, therefore Rabbi Yehuda says 7 also. But really, it's if even one tribe sinned, then Rabbi Yehuda would say you have to bring a bull. Then every tribe has to bring a bull. Rabbi Shimon Omer, Pasparim. Rabbi Shimon says 7 eight tribes, 8 bulls, meaning to say because you have the 7 of the court and 1 of the bezin. And by idolatry, it's 8 bulls and 8 goats. Parva sa'ir kol shevet shevet, parva sa'ir bezin. 1 bull and goat for each tribe, and 1 bull and goat for the court. Horu bezin shel echa min hashvatim. Let's say one of the courts of one of the tribes committed a sin. Excuse me. Horu bezin shel echa min hashvatim. One of the courts of one of the tribes committed a mistaken ruling, but also a shevet al piyan, and that tribe followed the mistaken ruling of the court. Also shevet hu chayev. Under those circumstances, Rabbi Yehuda would say, since it just came from that specific court, then only from that specific tribe, therefore only that tribe is liable, and all the other tribes are exempt. Whereas the Chacham say you're only going to be liable on the basis of a ruling that came out from the central court, the Sanhedrin, the high court of the Jewish people. As it says, also sheva, meaning say if the entire community has sinned, but not just one tribe. Comes along the Gemara cites the Brisa, Tanarabanan, Yadu Shahoru Vita'u Mahoru. So let's say the court knows that they made a mistake, but they forgot what their mistake was. Meaning to say they know that they ruled improperly, and they're not sure what they ruled. They had ruled either blood or chelev is kosher, and they weren't sure which one. I might think they will read to you the case. Rashi says, "Horu bezin shechelev mutar bebitul miktas also karapian rachu shogegin chelev v'dam." So what's the case here? The court ruled that one type of chelav is permitted to eat. That was wrong. Then the public not only ate the chelav, but they also did something else. Maybe they consumed the blood. And so by the time the Bezdin realized that they ruled incorrectly, they were no longer sure which substance that they had allowed. Was it the chelav or the dam? So it was known that one of the mistakes was caused by the court. They didn't know which one. So that's what's going on. Yadu Shaharu V'Toma Mauro. They didn't know what. Yachayu Chayav. And I might think they have to bring the bull. When the sin becomes known, but not when the sinners become known. It means to say only if you know the specific sin. And now the Bryce continues. Asher Chatu Shnei Shvatim. This teaches us if 2 tribes sinned, Mevi Shnei Parim, they bring 2 bulls. Chatu Shlosha Mevi Shlosha. If 3 sinned, they bring 3 bulls. Oh, Eino Amor. But maybe that's not what it's saying. Maybe what it's saying is El Oeno Amor El Chatu Shnei Yechidin Mevi Shnei Parim. Maybe it means if 2 individuals sin, they bring 2 bulls. 2 bulls. Chatu Shlosha. If 3 individuals sinned, they bring 3 communal bulls. Means say maybe the Bezdin needs to bring a bull for each person who sinned. Amar hakahal. It says the community hakahal chayav. The kol kahal chayav. The congregation is liable, and so therefore we see that each and every congregation, each and every tribe is chayav. Ketzah. How so? Chatu shnei shvatim. If 2 tribes sinned, mevi'in shnei parim. They bring 2 bulls. Chatu shiva. If 7 tribes sin, mevi'in shiva. Then they bring 7 bulls. Ushvar shvatim shelo chatu. And the other tribes that did not sin, mevi'in aidei parim. They also have to bring a bull as a result of this. Why? Even those who did not sin have to bring an offering on account of those who did sin. This is the position of Rabbi Yehuda. Even those who don't sin, bring on behalf of those who did sin. Rabbi Shimon Omer, Shiva Shvatim Shechatu Mevi'in Shivim Parim. Shimon says, no, the 7 tribes that sin, they bring 7 bulls. Ubeis Mevi'in Aidei Par, and the court brings a bull on their account. Shenemar lamata kahal v'nemar lamala kahal. It says below kahal and above it says the kahal. Ma kahal more lamala bezdin imakal. Just like the kahal above is the court with the kahal. So too, af kahal more lamata bezdin imakal. So too, it means the bezdin with the kahal. Third position, the mayor shiva shvatim shachatu. The seven tribes sinned. Based in Mevian Yadayim Par. Based in brings on their behalf a bull. The Haim Peturin, but the tribes are exempt. How do we know this? Nemar Kala Mata, and Nemar Kala Mala. It says Kahal below and Kahal above. Ma Kala Mor Mala. Just like the Kahal that said above, Bezdin Wood Tzibor. It's the community, it's the court and not the community. Of Kahal Mor Mata, Bezdin Wood Tzibor. It's the court and not the community. Shimon Elazar Omar Mishmo, Rabbi Shimon Elazar said in Rabbi Meir's name, Chatu Shisha Shvatim, they Mrubu Shakal, 6 tribes sinned and they're the majority. O Shiva, or 7 tribes sinned and they're not the majority. Nevi'im power, they bring a bull. So now we analyze this brisa. Amar Ma'ar v'noda'a chatas, when the sin became known, v'lo she'yivadu achotin, and not when the sinners become known. It means to say you have to know exactly the sin. Mantana, who taught this? Amar Yehuda Marav. It's not like Rabbi Elazar. Why? What did Rabbi Elazar teach us? The Tanya Rabbi Elazar, Manav Shach. He says either way they committed this sin. Im chaylev achal chayev. Im nosar achal chayev. Because Rabbi Elazar said if you ate meat and you're not sure if it was chaylev or nosar, which is both 2 examples of prohibited meat, either way you ate something which you have to bring korban chatas for. And so therefore, even though you don't know the sin, Rav Ashi Amar Filu Tema Rabbi Elazar. You can even say that this brisa is like Rabbi Eliezer. Why? Shani Yacha. This case is different. This case is different. Why? Because with respect to the parallel davar shal tzibur, it says specifically which the sin became known, means to say only if you know the exact sin. Also there it says you know the sin. No, Haumi Barley, that's coming to exclude Pratamas Asik. That if you were just like engaged in like regular activity and you committed this sin, that is not going to be considered something that you have to bring a korban chatas for. It has to be some intent. My time at Rabbi Yehuda. What's the reasoning of Rabbi Yehuda? Again, what do we say Rabbi Yehuda said? Rabbi Yehuda says that we had said in this price that Rabbi Yehuda's position was that if 2 tribes bring sin, they bring 2 bulls. 7, they bring 7 bulls. And the other tribes also bring. So basically, every tribe has to bring an offering. What's the reason for Rabbi Yehuda? Kasavar arba kahal iksiv. It says, it's written in the Torah 4 times the word kahal. It says, ha-kahal, kahal, ha-kahal, kahal. So, chad l'chayav v'kol kahal v'kahal. I want to say that each and every tribe has to bring. V'chad lo ra tuya b'bezdin u'maisa tuya b'kahal. And want to teach us that it has to be a mistaken ruling from the court and the action done by the people. V'chad l'grira. And this is to teach us this idea of grira, that even the tribes that did not sin are dragged along with the tribes that did, and they have to pay for their own bull. And one is to teach that a tribe that acted on the ruling of their own court also has to bring a power of davar shal tzibur. Rabbi Shimon, he says tlasa kal eksivi. He only darshans 3 times the word kal, because really the ha-kal is only written twice. And it's whether or not you expound ha and ha. So basically, he says, kahal, ha-kahal, ha-kahal. However, the 4th ha-kahal, me'ene ha-kahal, orchi de krakal. See, that's just coming the normal manner in which people speak. The amar inchi me'ene de palanya. It was hidden from the eyes of so-and-so. And just like the dipalanya, the dalit is extra, not needed. It's just the way people talk. Also, the hey of akal is extra. And so therefore, Gemara says, what is Rabbi Shimon saying? Why does he have three? One is to say each tribe has to bring a bull. Utrei Akrini, and one of the other two, Nemro Amata, Nemro Amata Kal, Nemro Amal. Why does it say Kal in both cases? Malalan Bezdin in Makal, just like the court has to bring along with the people. I've gone Bezdin in Makal. Also, here the court has to bring with the people. Now let's look at Red Mayor's ruling. Red Mayor, Kal Odara, she doesn't expound that. Therefore, it says Kahal only twice. And so therefore, why do we need it? It says below Kal, it says above. Malalan Bezdin Tzibor, I've got Bezdin Tzibor. And so therefore, it's teaching us that the court and not the community brings it. Finally, we go to Rabbi Shimon ben Elazar in the name of Rabbi Meir. Rabbi Shimon ben Elazar, my time. And what's his reading? If it was done through the eyes of the community, unintentionally. Alma miyuta, even if they're a minority. And all the people are making a mistake. So it's only if there's a majority, then they're liable, but not if there's a minority. Haketzad. Also, Shisha vein Ruba Shakal, if there were 6 tribes that did it, but they're the majority. Or Shiva, or 7, even though they're the minority. In all these cases, they're going to be liable. Says the Gemara, the Rabbi Shimon, the Rabbi Meir, the Ora, Tulia Bezin, Tulia Bakal Manalu. How do they know this basic idea? If the ruling has come from the court, and the action has to be done by the people. Amar Bayid, Amar Kra, because it says, we learn that from that pasuk. It was done, meaning to say the court ruled and the people acted. Rav Amar Milakol Am Beshkaga, all the nation sinned. We need both psukim. If it just said it just said that pasuk. It was just a minority. Therefore, you need everybody. Just said everyone. I might have thought you need the court with the majority. Therefore, it needs both psukim. But aren't these psukim talking about idolatry? So, no, we do exer Shabbat from the eyes to both places. The Mishnah said if the court of one of the tribes gave a mistaken ruling, then that tribe has to bring the bull offering. So that's what it said. It says, Horu bezin shalachem and ashvatim vasa also shevet alpi and also shevet l'chaim. B'shar kol ashvatim b'turin. Divrei Rabbi Yehuda. The Rabbi Yehuda says if a court of one of the tribes gives the ruling, then that tribe is only liable. Whereas Chacham say you're only liable if it's a mistake of the Sanhedrin. Horu bezin shalachad. Ibayu. So the Gemara says shevet echol Rabbi Yehuda ba'oras bezin agadol mimaisu shar ashvatim alo. So according to Rabbi Yehuda, if it was one tribe on the base of the Sanhedrin, do all the other tribes who didn't sin also have to bring a bull. Mi amrin and shiva shvatim hu demais ushar shvatim ba'dayo shum the ikaruba avachad shevet the ikaruba. Do we say well, if there are 7 tribes instead of the majority, they bring all the other tribes along with them, but one tribe they don't? Maybe it makes no difference. Tashma, Gemara says, let's answer this. Rabbi Shimon says Shnei Parim. Rabbi Shimon says they bring 2 bulls, and the Tanakhama says 1 bull. But Mayaskina, what are we talking about? If we say that 7 tribes sinned, Rabbi Shimon Timanyava, you should require 8. It must be that 1 tribe sinned, and yet we still require, according to Rabbi Shimon, 2 tribes, according to everybody else, one bull, not 7. And B'mai, and how do they make the mistake? If it was a ruling of its own court, Rabbi Shimon Rabbi Shimon says that nobody else should be chayiv. So it must be it's the ruling of the court. So therefore, Vitana Kama money. And who is this Tana? He named Rabbi Meir Aruba. If it was Rabbi Meir, he would require a majority. And Rabbi Yehuda, it's Rabbi Yehuda who says even if a single shevet does the sin. So the Brisa is discussing basically a single shevet, and it was a mistake of the Bezdin Agol, the Sanhedrin, and it's following the position of Rabbi Yehuda. And Amri Achamayafkinan. And what are we talking about? Going Shachatu Shisha Shvatim, Pin Reuben Shakal. 6 tribes sinned, and they're the majority. Rabbi Shimon ben Elazar Omer. Rabbi Shimon ben Elazar answered. Rabbi Shimon ben Elazar, the time Rabbi Shimon ben Elazar Mishmo. Chatu Shisha, Vein Reuben Shakal, O Shiva Av Pishem Reuben Shakal, again par. They bring a bull. So we see that the Bryce is saying that it's one tribe sinned, that it's 6 tribes, and so therefore it's not a proof for Rabbi Yehuda. Mara says, okay, I'll give you a perfect proof from the next one, which is a much more explicit proof. Tashma Rabbi Yehuda Omer, Shevet Shasab Ras Beistin, a tribe that follows its own court's ruling. Also a Shevet Chayev, Shakol Shvatim Peturin. That tribe is liable and all the other tribes are exempt. Aras Bezdin Agado, Afil Shar Shvatim Chayim. But if they follow a mistake of the high court, all the other tribes are liable. Shema Mina. So that's the proof. That's what Rabbi Yehuda says. Amar Rashi Masnisin Nami Dika. We can even infer this from our Mishnah. The Katani, but also a shevet, also shevet apim, also a shevet chayiv ukar shalosh batim peturin, because it says if one tribe followed their ruling, that tribe is liable, and all the other tribes are exempt. So why does that say all the other tribes are exempt? Tana also Sheva Chayiv. It just said that tribe is liable. But Kivin Tana also Sheva Chayiv. Since we say that tribe is liable, we anyways would know that the other tribes are exempt. So it's teaching us to Boras base Dino, who the Shar when the court issues its ruling. It's when the tribe issues its own ruling, that's when we say the other tribes are exempt. When it's based upon the ruling of the high court, then we'll say, even the other tribes are liable. Okay, that's a proof. The Gemara says, if one tribe acted on the mistaken ruling of the high court, would Rabbi Shimon say that they have to bring, that all the other tribes have to bring a bull offering? Tashma, Mayim Avin, Paracha, they bring a single bull. Rabbi Shimon says, Shnei Parim, 2 bulls. And what are we talking about? If we're saying that 7 tribes sin, Shnei Parim, Shemona Parim, why does Rabbi Shimon say bring 2 tribes? It should be 8 tribes, 8 bulls. It must be that one tribe sinned. If it was his own court, Rabbi Shimon says you don't bring on the base of your own court. It's on the base of the high court. And so we see on that basis that not all the other tribes bring. He holds that one tribe requires basically 2 bulls, one from the tribe and one from the Bezin. The Tizbara is really the case. Tanakama money. Who is the Tanakama? And Ira Meir Haruma by Meir requires majority. Ira Yehuda Shar Shvatim Nami Masu require all the other tribes to bring. So Hamani, who is it? Rabbi Shimon ben Elazar. It's Rabbi Shimon ben Elazar because it's Tanya, like we learned above, where there were 6 tribes who were majority. Rabbi Shimon ben Elazar says they bring a single bull. Rabbi Shimon requires 2, one for the congregation, one for the court. So the Gemara says, Tashma, we have a different proof. Some say you're only liable for the ruling of the high court. Who is it? Rameir requires a majority. Rabbi Shimon. It must be it's Rabbi Shimon. And so we see from here, that if one tribe does the Avera, messes up, then that tribe has to bring a offering. Rabbi Yehuda, Rabbi Shimon, Shevet Echad Dikri Kahal Menalo. How do Rabbi Yehuda, Rabbi Shimon know that one single tribe is called a Kahal? Amri Dersev, because it says Vayamod Yoshafat B'Kal Yehuda V'Yerushalayim B'Beis Hashem L'fnei Achatzar Chadasha. Because it says in Divrei Yamim 2, and actually 2 Chronicles chapter 20, and those of us who are studying the daily Tanakh, this is exactly where we're up to in our daily Tanakh study. So Yoshaphat was the king of Yehuda, and gathered people at a dangerous time when the armies of Ammon, Moab, and Seir were advancing upon them. He gathered them to Yerushalayim to pray. He gathered them to daven. What does it mean, the new courtyard? They discover new ideas and they said them. And what did they say? That a person who immersed that day but has not waited for nightfall, he cannot enter into the Levitical camp. So anyway, we see from here, we still haven't seen the proof. So Maskefla Ravachai Bar Yaakov Mimai Del Mashani Yerushalayim Davi Namim Binyamin. Maybe Jerusalem was different. How can you bring a proof? Maybe since Binyamin was also there, so there are two tribes. Maybe it calls them a kahal. In that case, maybe that's why it's called kahal, because it's Jerusalem and it's Judah and Benjamin. That Jacob tells to Joseph, you're going to become a cow. Man Who was born at that time? Binyamin, Benjamin. Shema Mina, and this is what the Torah was saying. There will be another congregation born to you, i.e., the tribe of Benjamin. And so therefore, Jacob was told he's going to give birth to a kahal, and that was only referring to Benjamin. Gemara says, maybe the Torah was just saying, when Benjamin was born, then you have 12 tribes. That you could be called a kahal. So the Gemara says, no, it doesn't make sense that 12 tribes would be called a kahal, but 11 wouldn't. So we see from here that even one tribe is called a kahal. We'll stop here. Today's daf yomi. Obviously, this is daf for Shabbos. On Shabbos, we gave an extra half hour. So we're going to take this on Shabbos and do it for an hour. So we go slowly and really understand this stuff. Baruch Hashem, Baruch Hashem.
Thank you. Good Shabbos.
Shabbos.